Three very true, scary, disturbing caregiver stories. The detective slid a photo across the table toward me. 6 months ago, I got a call from someone at the state's Adult Protective Services. They asked if I had a few minutes to talk about my grandmother's caregiver. I said sure. I figured maybe there was a paperwork issue, something with her license. Then they asked me to come down to their office, in person. That's when I knew something was wrong. When I got there was a detective waiting with him. He had a folder, thick. He opened it slowly and slid a bank statement across the table. It wasn't my grandmother's account. It was someone else's, someone I didn't know. But the signature at the bottom? I recognized it immediately. It was Margaret's handwriting. "We're investigating financial exploitation," he said. "Your grandmother's case is one of 7. 7 families. 7 elderly people who trusted the same caregiver. That conversation happened 3 years ago. What came out during the investigation, what I had to testify to in court, I still think about it every single day. Story 1, The Inheritance. My name is Jessica, 34, from Tampa, Florida. My grandmother Dorothy raised me. My parents died in a car accident when I was 6, and Grandma Dorothy took me in without hesitation. She wasn't wealthy, but she was careful. Saved every penny. By the time I was in college, she'd built up a decent amount, maybe $200,000 between savings and her house. She used to joke that it would set me up nice someday. Pay off my student loans, help with a down payment. When she turned 81, she started forgetting things. Small stuff at first, then bigger things. I was working full-time, couldn't be there every day. So we hired Margaret through an agency called Eldercare Solutions. Margaret was 63, retired nurse, grew up in Jacksonville, had a daughter around my age. We'd talk sometimes when I'd come by. She seemed normal, kind. Grandma Dorothy loved her. 6 months in, Grandma's dementia got worse. She started talking about people who weren't there. Got confused about where she was. Margaret suggested we get power of attorney sorted out, just in case. Said it would make things easier for medical decisions. I thought that was smart. Responsible. We went to a lawyer Margaret recommended. A guy named Howard Pritchard, office in a strip mall near the airport. He drew up the papers. I signed. Grandma signed, or tried to. Her signature was shaky but recognizable. 3 months later, Grandma Dorothy fell. Broke her hip. She went to the hospital, then rehab, then she just never came home. She died on a Tuesday morning. Pneumonia. Margaret was with her. Called me right away, crying. Said she was so sorry. The grandma had gone peacefully. I believed her. The funeral was small. Margaret came, brought flowers, hugged me for a long time. 2 weeks later, I went to the bank to close Grandma's accounts and transfer everything to my name. I had the death certificate, the will, everything I needed. The banker looked uncomfortable, excused herself, came back with a manager. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "this account was closed 4 months ago." I didn't understand. Closed by who? He turned his computer screen toward me. There was a withdrawal slip, $147,000, transferred to an account I didn't recognize. The signature at the bottom said Dorothy Kane. But it wasn't my grandmother's handwriting. I felt my chest tighten. "Who has access to this account?" He scrolled. Stopped. A Margaret Holloway. She was added as a joint account holder 7 months ago. She made the withdrawal. I reported it immediately. Police, bank, the lawyer, everyone. Howard Pritchard, the lawyer, couldn't be found. His office was cleared out. The phone number disconnected. Margaret's daughter, the one she talked about, didn't exist. The address she'd given Tendercare was a UPS store. Margaret Holloway wasn't even her real name. The detective I mentioned at the beginning. He found her 8 months later in Asheville, North Carolina, living under a different name, working as a caregiver for another elderly woman. When they searched her storage unit, they found documents belonging to 6 other people, all elderly, all vulnerable, all dead. She'd done this before, over and over. I got some of the money back, not all of it. Margaret pleaded guilty, got 12 years. She'll be out in 7 with good behavior. My grandmother worked her entire life to leave me something. And a woman she trusted, who sat with her, who read to her, who held her hand while she died, took it all? I don't think about the money anymore. I think about those last 3 months of Grandma's life. How Margaret knew exactly what she was doing while my grandmother smiled at her, trusted her. I think about that a lot. If you are enjoying this story, hit the like button and subscribe. Story 2, The Veteran. My name is Robert. I'm 51 now, from Minneapolis, Minnesota. My father, Donald, was a Vietnam vet. He didn't talk about the war much. Came home in 71, worked construction for 40 years, retired at 65. He was tough, stubborn, the kind of guy who wouldn't go to the doctor, even when he should. When he was 78, he had a stroke. Mild, but enough to mess with his left side. He needed help. He hated needing help. I lived 2 hours away, had 3 kids, a job I couldn't leave. My sister Emily lived in Colorado, so we hired someone. A guy named Kyle Brennan, 29 years old, former EMT. Had good reviews on care.com. Dad didn't like him at first, didn't like anyone helping him. But Kyle was patient, didn't push, just showed up, did his job, left Dad alone when he wanted to be alone. After a while, they got along. Kyle would watch football with him. They'd argue about the Vikings. Dad started looking forward to Kyle's visits. I thought we'd made the right choice. Kyle worked for us for almost a year. Then one day, out of nowhere, Dad called me. Furious. Said Kyle had stolen from him. What did he take? I asked. My Rolex. My father had a Rolex Submariner. He'd bought it in 1985 with his first big bonus check. Wore it every single day for 30 years. It was the only expensive thing he owned. When the stroke happened and his wrist swelled, he'd put it in his nightstand drawer. I drove up that same day. We searched everywhere. The whole house, it wasn't there. I called Kyle. He denied it. Said he'd never touched Dad's stuff. Said maybe Dad had moved it and forgotten. I wanted to believe him. But the watch was gone. We fired him. I filed a police report. They came, took a statement, said they'd investigate. Weeks went by. Nothing. Then I got a call from pawn shop owner in South Minneapolis. He'd seen the police bulletin. Said a guy matching Kyle's description had tried to sell a Rolex Submariner 2 weeks earlier. The pawn shop owner had turned him away. The guy didn't have paperwork, and it looked suspicious. But he'd taken a photo of the watch. Sent it to me. It was my father's. Serial number matched. The police arrested Kyle 3 days later. When they searched his apartment, they found more than just the watch. They found jewelry, coins, a Purple Heart medal that didn't belong to him. Kyle had been doing this for years. Different clients, different agencies. He'd steal small things. Things elderly people might not notice right away or might think they'd misplaced. The Purple Heart broke me. It belonged to an 84-year-old man named George Lindstrom. World War II veteran Kyle had worked for him 6 months before my dad. George had died. His family had been looking for that medal. It was supposed to be buried with him. Kyle pleaded guilty, got 3 years, served 18 months. My father never trusted anyone after that. He refused to let me hire another caregiver. He'd rather struggle on his own than let a stranger in his house. He died 2 years later. Heart attack, alone in his living room. I found him when I came up for our usual Sunday dinner. I think about that a lot. How Kyle didn't just steal things. He stole my father's ability to accept help. And maybe that's what killed him in the end. The Rolex is in my safe now. I'll never wear it. I can't. Story 3. The Mother. I go by Amanda, 29, from Sacramento, California. I had my son, Owen, when I was 23. His father left before Owen was born. I was on my own. I worked 2 jobs, one at a bank during the day, one bartending at night. I needed childcare, reliable, affordable childcare. I found Vanessa through a friend of a friend. She ran a small in-home daycare. 5 kids max. She'd been doing it for 6 years, had good references, charged less than the big centers. Owen was 18 months old when he started going there. Vanessa's house was clean, organized. She had a schedule posted on the wall: snack time, nap time, playtime. She sent photos throughout the day. Owen happy, Owen eating, Owen napping. I felt lucky. Owen liked her. He'd smile when I dropped him off. No crying, no tantrums. I thought that meant he was comfortable, safe. For 2 years, everything seemed fine. Then one afternoon, I got off work early. Bank closed for a staff meeting. I decided to pick Owen up an hour earlier than usual. Surprise him. I pulled up to Vanessa's house around 3:30. Her car was there. Another parent's car was there too. A mom I'd seen a few times, Lisa. I walked up to the door, knocked, no answer. I could hear kids inside, playing, laughing. I knocked again, louder. Vanessa opened the door. She looked flustered, hair messy, face red. "Oh, Amanda, you're early." "Yeah, got out of work. I'm here for Owen." She hesitated. Just a second. But I noticed. "Let me grab him." She closed the door, not all the way, just enough that I couldn't see inside. Something felt wrong. I pushed the door open and walked in. The living room was chaos. Toys everywhere, kids everywhere. I counted 8 children. Vanessa's license was for 5. Owen was in a playpen in the corner, alone. He looked up when he saw me. Didn't smile. Didn't reach for me. There was a woman on the couch I'd never seen before. Watching TV. Not watching the kids. Just sitting there. "Who's that?" I asked. Vanessa stammered. "That's my cousin. She's just visiting." "Is she watching the kids?" "No, I'm watching the kids." I looked around, at the 8 children, at the woman on the couch, at Owen in the playpen. I picked up my son and left. I reported her that same day. Called the county licensing board. Told them everything. They investigated. Found out Vanessa had been operating over capacity for at least a year. The woman on the couch? Not her cousin. A friend she paid under the table to help while she ran errands or took naps. Vanessa's license was revoked. But here's the part that still haunts me. I started noticing things about Owen after I pulled him out of there. He was quieter, more withdrawn. He'd flinch if I raised my voice, even a little. I took him to a pediatrician. then a child psychologist. The psychologist said Owen showed signs of neglect, not abuse. Neglect. He'd spent hours in that playpen, alone, while Vanessa managed too many kids and her cousin watched TV. Owen's 4 now. He's doing better. Therapy helped. But he still doesn't like being left alone in a room. I think about all those photos Vanessa sent me. Owen smiling, Owen playing, Owen happy. I don't know if any of them were real. I don't know how many hours he spent in that playpen while I thought he was being cared for. And I don't think I'll ever forgive myself for not seeing it sooner. 3 people, 3 caregivers, 3 different kinds of betrayal. Jessica lost her inheritance. Robert lost his father's trust. Amanda almost lost her son's childhood. The thing about caregivers is that we give them everything. Access, trust, our most vulnerable moments. Most of them earn it. Most of them are good people doing hard, important work. But the ones who aren't? They know exactly what they have, and they know how to use it. I don't know what the answer is. Background checks don't catch everything. References can be faked. Licenses can be bought. All I know is this. The people who need care the most are the people who can defend themselves the least. And that's a kind of power that should terrify us all. End.